understands, everyone is in agreement that the earth is warming and that it's bad and that we're all going to drown. That'd be like if the former vice president got up and said, Piltdown Man is real, and no scientist, no archaeologist disagree with it. That's not how science works. Piltdown Man. The Piltdown Man is a famous paleontological hoax concerning the findings of the remains of a previously unknown early human. The hoax find consisted of fragments of a skull and a jawbone collected in 1912 from a gravel pit at Piltdown, a village near Uckerfield, Essex, England. The fragments were thought by many experts of the day to be fossilized remains of the hereto unknown form of early man, the Latin name Darwin's Dawn Man, after the collector Charles Darwin was given the specimen. The significance of the specimen remained the subject of controversy until it was exposed in 1953. See, it took 41 years for the hoax to come out, and see, by then they would have had global government. This is a Piltdown Man where they run a big scam and say, you've got to pay us tax money and let us regulate all carbon and tax your TVs and your dog and more than one child. And we've got to run your life, and you've got to have a carbon credit card, and everything you do has got to be tracked. And when you go above your carbon credits, more taxes kick in. This is all being announced. And a global government has to have control over all scientific development in the world, or the earth will be destroyed. And only our select banker buddies can be allowed to develop any technology, or the earth will die. Everyone will die. We'll all drown. You see, we can't wait 41 years to expose this Piltdown Man. The significance of the specimen remained the subject of controversy until it was exposed in 1953 as a forgery consisting of the lower jawbone of a pig that had been deliberately combined with the skull of a fully developed modern human. The Piltdown hoax is perhaps the most famous paleontological hoax in history. It has been promoted for two reasons: the attention paid to the issue of human evolution and the length of time, more than 40 years, that elapsed from the discovery to its full exposure as a forgery. Ladies and gentlemen, I can announce to you that November 2009 was the month that the climate Piltdown Man hoax was exposed. Now, it may take a year or two more till this is fully admitted, until people go to jail or lose their tenure. We can't wait that long. They will pass Copenhagen. They will pass the global government treaty that the U.S. isn't allowed to get out of unless all members agree. It's a straitjacket. They will pass the climate change global tax bill in the Senate this month. If we don't just absolutely go wild and get this information out to everyone. But to Kurt Nimmo, to Steve Watson, to Paul Watson, to Aaron Dykes, my writers, and to all of our listeners, we need to go through all these emails. We need to write articles breaking down the points I just made, tying it in with previous scientific fraud, because we have them. Now, the media is running a multifaceted disinformation campaign. The Washington Post, BBC, and others have headlines like, oh, emails show that pro-global warming forces had a lot of anger for people that didn't believe it. And then you read later in the bottom of the article, oh, by the way, the emails say they forged documents, forged climate statistics. That should be the headline. Some of the other spin we're seeing is for the media to say, well, these emails haven't been authenticated. But see, the scientists who were in the emails got contacted by the media before they got their story straight, and the university admits they were hacked, they were taken, and here is the absolute key. Listen to me carefully. They have responded to their quotes in the emails saying that they did write it, but that it's being misconstrued or taken out of context. So they themselves, that's why it's so important with police when they're doing an investigation, that they talk to the perps, that they talk to the suspects quickly before they make up a story. They have admitted it is their emails. Now, let me tell you what the UN and what the big banks are going to do who have tens of trillions riding on this. And believe me, I'm not giving them ideas here. I had to think about whether I wanted to do this or not, but they've already thought of it, I guarantee you. Within days, if it's not already happened, they will insert fake emails, not in the original WikiLeaks group. Those have been confirmed. They will insert time bombs, poison pills of fake data into there, and the media will suddenly cover all of that. Did you know cold fusion's been confirmed over 200 times by major universities and research firms? But first the media came out and claimed a hoax had been perpetrated in the late 1980s, so that ever after, no one ever paid attention to the fact that cold fusion was discovered. The problem is it's really hard to get power from it and to be able to isolate it. So I've done a ton of research on it. It creates really small amounts of energy, so it's not even that big of a deal. It's just the issue is that's how the big energy companies killed this discovery, was by setting up a whole stage deal where they claimed a real discovery was a hoax and made jokes about mayonnaise jars. They will do this because let me tell you, this will kill them. This will kill their hoax. We have it, and they're not getting out of it because they screwed up and admitted the emails were theirs. Oh, man, we have got them now. Stay with me. This is ClimateGate. If we deploy this powerful truth weapon properly, it is going to devastate these people. They were already on the defensive as the UN and its major universities' science continue to be proven as a fraud, but they kept spinning it saying there is no debate, we've made no mistakes, and then later they would admit they made mistakes, and they went from global warming now to climate change. White House and UN memos have come out in the last 3 months where they said we've got to tell the public it's our deteriorating atmosphere. There's a wild card in all of this. It's now declassified that the U.S., Chinese, Russian, and other governments have powerful weather modification systems, so they can also carry out some weather terrorism to scare people and say, oh, look, we've got to have a global government and a global tax, or the global mafia will turn loose the weather machines on you. Of course, they won't openly say that. They'll just say, oh, my gosh, look what just happened. And, yes, that's all over the news now that they have those systems. But this is scientific fraud. But a whole other issue with these leaked, hacked emails is that most of the emails are centered around how to persecute scientists, how to get scientists fired. They are discussing in these emails how to persecute people, how to get people fired, how to get journals boycotted, how to get funding cut. I mean, this is criminal, ladies and gentlemen, clearly. To collude between major research institutions funded by government, to collude together to punish and persecute and witch hunt and use terms like climate denial. Oh, you think the Nazis weren't bad. You're like, what does that have to do with climate change? Oh, you're denying the Holocaust. What does Al Gore always say? You say, hey, I don't want socialist health care. Oh, you don't like black people. Socialism's code for you don't like blacks. Had nothing to do with it, but they injected in as a brutal social tool to create a chilling effect. Most people are scared of being called racist. So you say, hey, the sun's what mainly heats the earth, and it's gone into a cooling period. And so the earth's now cooling off. All the major weather stations show it's cooling. Shut up. The science is in. Well, wait, your scientific data doesn't match up with people that went and independently checked the weather stations from Russia to the United States, from Antarctica to the Middle East, to Africa, to Latin America. Let us see your climate data because, we went to the universities and governments that collected the data that you say you use, and it doesn't match what you say. And they go, shut up, denier.